explain your success? And how do you explain your failure? Optimists, when they look at their success, they take it very personally. I worked hard. Pessimists take it as universal. Everybody was successful. But what we're going to do is focus on the problem side of it. So how do pessimists versus optimists explain setbacks? So somebody that is in that pessimistic mindset, which we all are from time to time, when a problem happens, we take it personally. We think we are the only person in the world that experiences this. And this is why an exercise like this is so important, because when I go through these problems, you'll see that almost everybody in the room puts their hand up, because problems are universal. We are human beings, period. Period. So looking from personal to universal, and then we'll come over here. So if you are lying in bed at 3 o'clock at night, and you think that you're the only person that did something wrong, versus everybody's done that wrong. And then permanent, if you think a problem's permanent, it will haunt you. But if you realize that it's temporary, you will let it flow through you. And then finally, if you think whatever the challenge is pervasive to every area of your life. So for example, if one of my nursing students fails their first midterm, they are convinced that they will fail every midterm for the rest of their lives. They won't graduate, they'll land on the street, they'll be homeless, it goes on. But in fact, it's one course, it's worth 20% of their final grade, all of these things. So if you look with the Optimism Bootcamp, so let's start. Who wants to be the first volunteer to come up and take a sticky off of this group? Who's the green group? And I can do it independently too. Are we going to have the optimist? What's your first name?
Barb.
Barbara, come on up here. I have a feeling that you enjoy the limelight. You, a little bit?
No, not at all.
Oh, not at all. Maybe I have a kin named Barbara, my fellow optimist. Okay, come up and bring. She believes so much in her optimistic skills that she did not even want to put it on the
I'll
left
put
side.
it right over here.
Okay, we'll start with Barbara. Okay, so if you want to share what the problem. Okay, wait.
Weight loss.
Anybody here challenged in some way or another at some point in their life about weight loss? Anybody?
So it's not just me?
Oh, no, it's not. It's a $900 billion industry. They're playing with their mind. Okay, so we know it's not personal. Okay?
I know that.
And you know that. And then, but it's universal. So if you want to bring it over to the universal side.
Absolutely.
And not only is it universal, it's cultural. So if you look at different points in time, that what would be considered heavy now is actually considered unhealthy and skinny in other times, and also cultures, right? That the North American culture has this preoccupation with weight, and that until recently, certain Asian countries didn't have a psychological diagnosis for anorexia nervosa or bulimia, that it's something that's imposed by culture. So it's universal, really, to North America, but maybe not other places. So it's shared. Are you optimistic?
Absolutely.
Okay, she is. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up. Okay, so budgeting. Who in here has an issue with budgeting money? Okay. Okay. Who has an issue with budgeting money in here? Budgeting money, budgeting time, budgeting energy, budgeting just about anything? I am this, talk about being an optimist. I make all my decisions based on when I have high energy. And when the time shows up, I'm so mad at myself, because we're going to talk about budgeting energy for a second, because I don't want to do it. But I made those decisions based on the time when I had a lot of energy. So in terms of budgeting, it's definitely universal to everybody in this room. And so what that means is, then let's get it out in the open. Let's talk about it. And that's the interesting thing about money, is nobody wants to talk about it. People think it's rude to talk about money. When in fact, why we need to get it more on the universal side is solutions happen here. Over here, we hide, right? We hide behind our clothes. If we're talking about these two, we hide behind, we don't show up for things because we don't feel like we're our best self in terms of weight. I'll say to you, as I say to my clients and my students, compared to what, right? You know, was it a commercial you saw or a magazine you saw? Or, like, think about young people in terms of social media. And in terms of budgeting, if you open it up and realize that it's universal, that everybody at some point in their life, I remember the first credit card I got in university, okay? I got up to $1,000 in a week. And I remember I got my tax refund that year, and my dad's like, you gotta pay off your credit card. I did, but my point being is, I had so much shame. And now when I walk down the college hallways, and I see those credit card companies, you know, wanting to jump on those students, that it really is kind of a rite of passage. That anything that you find challenging or feels like a problem is because you haven't got to the place of the solution of it, or you don't realize that everybody around you has a problem. And then you can talk about it. It's really just a point, a learning opportunity. I think of all of this as learning opportunity. This is about acceptance too, and what's realistic for yourself. And even in terms of budgeting, I would go underneath of that and figure out what, you know, what area and all that kind of stuff. So I'm married to a CPA accountant, so you can imagine psychology of money. You know, we should be here right now. That's most problems. You should be here with me. Thank you very much to the green group. Okay, so the permanent. Okay, so the first one makes you feel isolated and alone. And the homework I did with this group with Amy and Zoe is that Amy felt that she was the only one in the world with problems. She felt like she was the only one in the world that felt heavy, had money issues, was dealing with a bad every single one of these, I could say a check mark too. Okay? So I'm just going to rhyme them off and think if it's universal. Okay? The coworker issue. Yeah. My daughter refused to get a driver's license. Do not drive her anywhere. Relationship struggles. How many people in this room have had or are having relationship struggles? Okay? My article before this was called Failure is Feedback. If every relationship before my husband had worked out, I wouldn't have found the man of my dreams. So relationship struggles, they shouldn't feel like a struggle. It's not the right person. And that's okay. And how many people have had an issue with not replacing the toilet roll? Yes, and curing my diabetes. And you know, the curing the diabetes, then we start looking at, just like with all chronic illnesses, how much of it is acceptance and how much, you know, they're real issues and then they're light issues. So with Amy and Zoe, Amy felt that she was the only person in her family who had problems. She felt that Zoe lived a very princess life, that she had every break in the world, and the only reason she found a man, was pregnant, had a job, was because she essentially won the lottery. So the homework I gave them, and I encourage everybody else to do this, it's in the article too, is to spend time with someone who seems like they are magically touched by fairy dust. That every part of their life seems perfect. And I'm talking about Amy and Zoe here in particular. So Amy, like all of us do, when we get stressed out, we become very narcissistic. It's about me all the time. And this is why a walk in the park solves almost every problem, because you get out of your head, right? And so what I had for an entire week, Amy had to, instead of talking about her problems, she started to have to pay attention to what was going on in Zoe's life. And if you're somebody who, maybe in the room right now, there are two kinds of people. The kind that open up readily, it's almost like a waterfall of their problems, and some of you really keep it to yourself. And people assume if someone keeps things to themselves that they don't have problems, they're just more quiet about it. So what I had with Amy and Zoe is that Amy tracked her all week, and at the end of the week when they came back for the second session, Amy was in awe of the level of adversity that her twin sister Zoe had to face in the course of a week. The difference was Zoe didn't talk about it. So what that allowed Amy to do is realize her problems weren't personal, they were universal. So the second one, in terms of permanent versus temporary, let's see if we have it on here. And then we're going to bring up a volunteer. Budgeting. So no surprise, Amy, who was living in her parents' basement, had a problem with money. And she believed that Zoe, once again, never had a problem with money. And so what I did, their homework was to meet with a money specialist and to go over how Zoe could create a budget and get out of debt. what really the difference is between pessimism and optimism is optimism is hope. And when you have hope in your heart, no matter how many times you've been thrown down, because in this room, collectively, you've been thrown down so many times, myself included, but when I believe that there's a silver lining, I will get back up, I'll get back up. Whereas the pessimist has no hope. And so seeing something as universal to everyone gives you a sense of hope. Realizing that a problem is temporary gives you hope. Why would Amy pay down her debt if she felt like she was going to be in debt forever? So when she went to see a specialist, what she realized with Zoe is Zoe also had debt. In fact, Zoe had problems curbing her vacation debt. She loved to travel. Some of you, it might be handbags. Others, it might be electronics. We all have something, right? And so it unified them because it helped her to realize that Zoe, in fact, needed Amy's help and that they could bond together and that really it was temporary, that you could get out of debt. See, the difference between someone who gets out of debt and somebody who doesn't get out of debt is believing that you can. And so whether it be jars or whatever it is, so there's one system, it's like the 5-jar method. So you have a jar, this is for $100, that's your food budget, that's your Uber budget, that's your electronics budget, whatever it is. So they went on a system together and she helped it to realize that it was temporary. And even if it was just paying down the minimum, and I know in this room, you don't have to put your hand up specifically, there's some credit card debt that's weighing down and another card, another card, another card. And the other thing about pessimist versus optimist is that you feel helpless when you feel like you can't get any further. So I helped her to realize it was temporary. Almost every stressor we have is temporary. You think about what bothered you yesterday, it doesn't bother you today. So one of the strategies I use, it's a simple thing, I call it the God box. So whether or not whatever your faith is, and I do like being in control. Anybody in here like to be in control? But I'm not. So what I do with things I have no control over, I just write on a simple sheet of paper. I put in the God box, which just is a simple plastic box, and I vow not to look at it for 3 months. And every single thing I put in that box and I just empty it, I don't even look at it. 3 months later, taken care of. On my work email, I have a folder that says God. And when I'm struggling with let's see, did I see coworker issue up here? Or maybe a boss issue? Or maybe a not enough time issue? Or this change I put in the God box. And it takes care of itself because what I know about problems, I gotta stay out of them. Especially the ones I can't control. And so when I put it in that box, call it the universe box, call it the Smurf box, call it whatever you want, get out of that box and let the universe take over. And then you can go for a walk. And then you can come to a breakfast like this. So in terms of permanent, I need one volunteer to come up here from the pink group, please. Come on up. What's your first name?
Jasmine.
Jasmine, you're Mona's sister,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
That's nice to meet you too.
Yeah, round of applause for
Okay, I'll pick this one here. Work sucks.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Thank you. How many you probably don't want that on camera. Okay, and then pick another one for me, please.
Another one, I'm always tired.
Okay, I'm always tired. Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to look at work sucks. These days, there are very few jobs that are forever. You're lucky to have it for 2 years, even 3 years. So most likely work sucks in more than one way is it's temporary because it's not 24/7. The problem with the job where work sucks is we make it 24/7. And so if I find myself thinking about a work issue that it's not solvable at night, you might want to videotape this so you have this for later. And this will be on YouTube though. That if you find yourself, even with my husband, if he's talking about work late at night, I'm like, you don't get paid at 8 o'clock at night. You get paid during these hours. You don't get paid Sunday at 10 a.m. You get paid during your work hours. And you know what? If work does suck, you get yourself really uncomfortable. You put a time limit. In fact, I'm going to give you 0, Jasmine. You're not allowed to complain about work for the next 7 days. And what happens is you get so uncomfortable you're going to make a change. And her mom's here, her sister's. You are not going to listen to her complain about, okay? Okay? For the next 7 days, okay? Okay? Next 7 days, next 7 days. Because I think so much of Jasmine that when work sucks, it's a sign that something better is waiting for you. So just like I did that article on failures feedback, I've been through jobs, I've been through relationships, I've been through towns, and everything led me to this moment. And when something doesn't work, it's a sign. It's a sign. It's a sign. So thank you for sharing that. And then yes, you're always tired. So the other are you ready for homework? Okay. So for the next, after this week is done, the week after that, I'd almost guarantee that a lot of your tiredness comes from complaining and from being upset about what, oh yeah. Put it in the God box. It comes from that, and also I want you to, through the course of a day, what I would do as a psychologist, and this is actually the third part here, I would randomly beep the client throughout the day, and they'd have to write down whether or not they're tired. And what basically on a scale of 1 to 10 what their energy is, and what you'd find is that you're not tired all the time. That your tiredness is attached to your biorhythm. So this is what my husband says when he's tired. What's my biorhythm? Okay, you sound very medical. But you know, like 3 o'clock, or maybe it's your food, because think about health-wise. Maybe it's certain people. And all those things. So what happens when we talk about permanent versus temporary, we tend to be very blanket with our stress statements. And in fact, it's only certain times a day, with certain people, after certain foods. And what that does is you need data, and it empowers you to realize, no, you're not tired all the time. You're actually only tired when you're with that person. You're only tired because you feel helpless. You're only tired. So those are 2 pieces of homework for you. So thank you for opening up, Jasmine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So now we've gone through session 1, our problems, personal and universal, and we're almost finished because I know that we're going to be wrapping up the day. Our setbacks, permanent or temporary, and then finally, this is one of the big ones too. This is our stress response. And so my TED Talk called Thriving Under Pressure was all about stress resilience, psychological resilience, about the fact that we're all going to have challenges in life, and how they, in the end, they make us happier because they give us a sense of completion. They gave us a sense of you can do it, you can overcome it, all of those things. But when we're in a stress moment, something bad happens, it feels like it's going to go on forever, and it feels like it's in every part of our brain. But that's called what's built into our brain. It's called the negativity bias. So you can have a report card, straight A's and 1 D. What are you going to focus on, right? Right? You're going to go on a vacation. You're going to have the best time of your life, and the last day sucks, and you never want to go back, right? So it's called the negativity bias, and it's really the fight or flight, the amygdala, the limbic. So finally, Amy, speaking of work, in the article, she talked about every aspect of her job sucked. And her sister, once she opened up, Zoe she liked every aspect of her job except, this is different, except the long hours. And the way I do it, the way I frame it, at work, I teach for free, I get paid to mark. I spend time with students for free, I get paid to go to meetings. So think about the aspects of your life. It's just, how many parents do we have in the room? Okay. So much joy in being a parent and so much struggle, right? So nothing's all or none, and also it depends on what age they're at, all those kind of things. And even entrepreneurs, how many entrepreneurs do we have in the room? And this applies to entrepreneurship, sales, all of this applies to every area of your life. Okay, so I need one more volunteer, please. From the Hello family. You had me at hello. Round of applause for your first name yet? Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you. Did you take any 2 off here, whether it's yours or somebody else?
This one and
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, one more. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Movies are my passion. This young lady helped me out many times. Always friendly, always asking me how things are. And little did I know that you were the sister of this very famous lady over there. And the mom. I tell you, good people stick together. So interestingly enough, this last one, as I said, was about the fact that Amy was pessimistic specifically about work and also was feeling a lack of gratitude. So what we're looking at here, is it pervasive to every area of your life? Who's handling a flood since January? Two articles from now, my Drive magazine article is going to be on the house flood. That I won't get into the details now. How many people in this room has been in some way touched by a flooding situation? Okay, in Windsor. And when you're in it, it affects every area of your life because you have to wait for people to show up. You don't know when it's going to end. The biggest thing in terms of flooding is it's not even that it happened that's tragic, but you worry about the next time it's going to happen. And then everybody starts talking about how many times it happened, right? And so it definitely feels like it's every single part of your life, right? And so this is one that may in fact be pervasive, right? There are certain things that are pervasive, but what areas of your life are good right now? What's working? Okay, so work is like a sanctuary for you to go to. So work. And are you appreciating work in some ways more than ever because of this situation? Okay. And that's what also tends to happen. So it feels like it's every area of your life, and this is the opposite but over here, but work is working out, which is good. And then, so finally losing the weight and the anxiety that went over it, whose was that? Okay.
That goes with it.
That goes with it? The anxiety's gone?
Oh, no.
Okay. So tell me,
I think
the
anxiety is really affecting the weight because since my baby, who was 38, I've lost.
Can anybody relate to having babies and like?
I've lost.
Absolutely.
I have to
I
say
give you a high
because we always go through that. But the whole thing is I've lost. It's funny that my sheet is on the blue because I always say that I can only get up to 40 pounds. I've lost 40 pounds in 38 years, 5 times.
Can anybody relate to that?
As soon as I get close to the 40 pounds, that's when I stop losing weight. And I know it's there, but it's still.
We need to hypnotize.
Yeah.
So there's something about the 40. Who are you to lose 41 pounds?
Yeah.
Who are you to lose 43 pounds?
And look that good.
Yeah, okay.
That's the whole thing.
No, that's it.
And then all of a
That's the thought.
it's up to the other.
That's the thought.
Yeah.
That's the thought. So this might be more of a private session. But that is your homework.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're hiding.
And I'm on that again.
Right.
Where I'm starting again because now I've put it back on. And I'm just so sick of it. So the anxiety with it, and it's just a whole.
Well, it's like a whole whiplash we
snowball.
talked
It's just
about.
awful.
Yeah. Okay. So some kind of creative outlet around it. That's what I hear. Is that because obviously you're creative? Do you sketch or anything like that? Okay.
Not really.
Your homework.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Chapters and get one of those sketch pads.
Mm-hmm. I have one at the house.
Okay. So get out of the house. Okay. So take your seat. The weather's getting nicer. Find a tree in any park. Go under it. And there's something underneath of it because the articles this is all what's happening below the surface, and that you're trying to control yourself in that area. So it's letting that, who you were before you had the kids, who you were before you had the kids, and letting it come up, and letting yourself out, and letting yourself shine. I know your daughter, I will be checking in on you.
And she will tell on
And,
me.
and having fun.
Well, it's funny because we do. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's more to do with having so much going on in my life that's good. Yeah. And there's this one stigma there's that one little thing.
Like, who are you to have all that good?
You know what I mean? I think that's what.
Who are you to be that happy? Right? Who are you to have it all? Who are you to have everything when all these people out there are suffering? You have enough burdens and you've overcome it. So guess what? It's your time.
Yeah.
We'll play back this video for you.
Yeah.
And get a hug right off there. All right. Okay?
Yeah.
And I do love your daughters.
So do I.
Yeah. I know. The first step to everything is really to name it, and once we name it, we can start to tame it. And there's no question when we did the psychoeducational assessment, you have everything. Step 5 is to do the work. And for you, it's really to undo the work. And allow yourself to have everything. All of us are touched by this in every area of our life. For the longest time, and I'm going to start to wrap it up because I know in terms of time. For the longest time at the college, when I'd walk through the hallways, I'm going on 17 years there, and everybody would just look at me funny because I was so happy. And I didn't understand why they weren't. And they would always say to me, like, you know, are you not working hard enough? You know, are you not doing enough job? Whatever it was. But for me, having worked as a school psychologist for 5 years and then private practice for 16 years, I knew what pain was. I knew what suffering was. And I knew the opportunity to be like this with people, young people, every single day was pure joy. And so that's what I'm just saying back to you, is that I used to really dim my light, and all of us in some way or another. And now, you know, it's funny because you don't think about it's fearful to be happy, but we live in a society that we judge, and we judge success by pain. You've been through pain. You've been through suffering. You deal with that every single day. That's what a chronic illness is. But now it is your time. Accept it, but allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to feel the joy. And I just want to end today by saying I am so grateful to be here with my Windsor community. So thanks for having me.